Hello BookTube! This is my top 5 sci-fi novels. Here we go. I don't really have much of an order for these, but I'll try and put them in sort of one. First will be Ringworld by Larry Niven. I read this a couple of years ago. It is an amazing adventure through space with these amazing creatures that are incredibly alien and are described incredibly well, with the descriptions of the ancient race that had made the ring world and the mechanics that go into it. It is, I don't know if it's the hardest of sci-fis, but it's definitely up there, and I adored it. Absolutely loved it. I read it as part of my reading of the top 100 NPR sci-fi and fantasy novels a few years ago. Definitely worth a read. That's Larry Niven's Ringworld. The next one I read while I was in year 12. It was our mandatory read for our English class, and I will always love that one English teacher. There's just one who recommended this be on our list, and that is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Once again, one of those authors that I'm like, I don't really like him, but oh my god, do I love this book. This was one of the very first non-satirical sci-fis I ever read. It meant something, and there was underlying themes about the world as it is and the treatment of children. I love this book. Surprisingly enough, I haven't reread it, but it is all still there with the which way is why are you standing on your head part, when they work out that there's no way is specifically up in zero gravity. And I love Bean and I love Ender. This is an amazing book that everyone should have to read. So that's Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I'm surprised I actually don't have a copy of this next book, but I did again read it as part of my NPR, the top 100 sci-fi and fantasy books, and that is Caves of Steel by Isaac Asimov. I read this while I was on holiday on my Kindle. This was a few years ago. I was just blown away by the descriptions of the city that they live in, because they literally live in little domes of steel, so no one goes outside. Technically, most of the population now have agoraphobia, because the idea of going outside onto the Earth's surface is ludicrous to most of them, which is where our main protagonist comes in, who is a police officer who is investigating a death. Basically, they can't fathom that someone would go outside of the Caves of Steel. The reasoning behind that being is that we've poisoned the Earth's atmosphere so much that we all must live in a created zone. It's the first book in the Robot series, and it is truly a classic of the genre. Next is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi writers, and that's Philip K. Dick with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I watched Blade Runner and I hated it because it didn't have even though it was hours and hours long, it didn't have the depth that this tiny little volume had of going into the genetic abnormalities that have occurred because of the terrible conditions that we've created on Earth. There are people who no longer function at their higher thinking levels because their genetics have been so badly damaged by environmental factors. The animals, and this is the whole premise of it, why Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, is our main protagonist in this book, Rick Deckard, is someone who goes around and finds androids that are pretending to be human, and he has a test. These androids are starting to pass as human because they are more human than humans have become. And it is an amazing look into the world of, we've stuffed up our planet so much we're no longer what we were. We've stuffed up our planet so much that animals no longer exist. And this is why he's got a android sheep, because he wants an animal so much, and that's like the pinnacle of society left on Earth, is to own your own animal. A very sad look at the future for humankind left on Earth, but an incredibly invoking book which again, I think everyone should have to read. My top one, sort of, I think I don't know, I think I might like Androids better, but the top one and the last one that I'm going to mention is all hype at the moment, and that's Altered Carbon by Richard K. Morgan. Of course, the TV series has just launched on Netflix about a month ago, and of course I've watched it. It was amazing, but we miss out on Takeshi Kovacs' complete and utter disregard for anyone. Just a bit of a spoiler, there's no sister in the book. There's no sister. This is a completely made up new person. It's fine. I liked it. I'm very much used to the whole every sort of genre is slightly, every medium is slightly different, because I'm a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan, and you might be wondering where that book got to, but I'm going to put it in a satirical one instead. This book had some elements of the psychoticness of this character, Takeshi Kovacs, that were just amazing to read. We lack in the TV series as well the intricate detail that is involved in the neurochem and the genetic building of these sleeves for people, idea of the different chemicals that are used. We lack the descriptions of the intricate weaponry that Takeshi Kovacs and other characters use in it, and that is what made this book so good, is the detail. One thing that the show had that was really could have been in the books as well was Poe. I loved Poe. In the book, they're in the Hendrix. Guess what the theming is. I love that change there with Poe. He was awesome. I'd like that to be rewritten, please, if you get there. Thanks. That is my top 5 Wednesday of sci-fi books. If you like it, you know what to do. If you would like to tell me some of your favourite sci-fis, please write them down below. I'd love to hear some new ones. I'm always looking for good sci-fi. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you very much and happy reading.